sub-counties. So we station a full set of machines in that sub-county, whereby the MCA, the 4 MCAs or 5 MCAs in that particular sub-county, sat and give out a work plan for these machines. And at the end of every month, we go through and see whether the service provider has indeed done as planned. And a number of things normally happen, depending on the rain season and depending also on certain regions, because some regions really rain a lot, like the northern part of the county. Remember also, in my county, I have to manage Masai Mara. Masai Mara is, we require those machines, about another all 2 sets, to make sure that all roads are passable for our tourists who are VIPs, and even probably some of you who have visited Masai Mara, when you use, planes, you have to land on what we call Maram airstrip. Those Maram airstrips is a daily routine that they have to maintain so that an aeroplane does not stuck in the middle of an airstrip. So, Honorable Chair, since we got this machine for the last 3 years, actually 2 years, I must tell you that we have done more than 3,000 kilometers of roads. And mostly we are opening new ones. It's a lot of work. When you go to those sub-counties, you see a lot of work being done on these by this moving machine. So what are we paying for these 300 million? 300 million, Chair, you can compare with 1 or 2 vehicles that probably you have. You need to maintain, you need to service, you need to replace, stuff like, tires, engines, knocks, all manner of things. So and also the fuel. Fueling those vehicles, 120, and they are going at a go, it's a big job that you have to pay for that.
The 300 includes fuel.
What is that?
The 300 million includes fuel. Fuel for the machines.
Only service. Only service. Yes.
The drivers and operators.
The service provider pay for them on that 300 million.
They are not employees of the county.
No, these are employees of the service provider.
The service provider.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a lot of it's a big operation.
I think honorable members, let's Senator Sifuna, Senator Cherargei.
I'm a bit confused, Governor. Why have a standard global figure of 300 million? Because if somebody is doing repairs to a machine, it is not expected that it will be the same amount throughout. I mean, why can't they be paid for the piece of work that they deliver? If machine X needs servicing, you pay for that. It is possible that you could spend less on that if it was piecemeal like that. Then secondly, Governor, the auditor said that the equipment, the 2 concrete mixer and the reversing drum concrete mixer was left idling and decaying in the yard. That cannot be the same as what you are describing, that they had been taken for cleaning.
Okay. Before you respond, Senator Kiambu, go on record.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Sifuna, Senator of Kiambu County. Good afternoon, Governor and your team. I'm happy to see you. I had read the news that governors are not coming. I had come to witness. Good to see you.
Karibu, Senator, the last time you were seen in Narok, you were causing problems in the last by-election. I hope you have not come to cause problems.
And I'm happy to deal with him properly. So, Chair, that's beside the point.
Let's get Senator.
Oh, sorry.
Cherargei,
He had called me.
We are co-spokesmen for the state. So I think, Chair, one would be interested to know whether this service provider was competitively sourced. This service provider, was he competitively sourced? Right? Is there any evidence to that effect? Maybe we can...
Okay, fine. Take note of that. Senator Ledama, then Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think what I wanted clarity, Governor, is on the amount which was being asked of 300 million, whether it is only for service or whether this contractor uses this equipment to be able to open these roads. I think you need to make that very clear so that the committee can be able to understand that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cherargei.
Chair, maybe mine will be very specific. Governor, I heard you have is it CC or Chief Officer of Roads here, an engineer?
Yes, yeah.
Engineer is in charge of roads.
Yes.
Chair, maybe he can tell us, I thought this standard figure of 300 million, these are machines. I thought there should be a maintenance schedule or the outsourcing, so I don't think you need a standard of 300. So my concern, apart from tagging and the servicing and maintenance, this year that is being talked about, is it a secure place? Who manages it, number one? Number two, how do you get spares and ensure that there is maintenance is up to date? And then I thought the machines are based on need assessment. Because even if I take today, the service is standard. If you take your car for service, it's standard. But sometimes you need to replace brake pads or other major parts. So my concern is, does the chief officer in line or the CC who is here can tell us how is the schedule of arrangement of maintenance of these machines? And finally, on the issue of tagging, Chair, do you have a complete asset register? Because while we agree that I know Narok, and some of us have many interests in Narok, and they are good interests, is that it is a rainy place. I know the problem we're having is the issue of soil. You know, sometimes you need a lot to do it on your roads. So my concern, how is the mapping of ensuring that you have said it is the MCAs and maybe sub-county level, is it stayed in a chief's office or a DC's office for protection? Maybe you can highlight or rather yield back.
Okay. Governor, you could respond to the issues raised.
Thank you very much, Chair. And first and foremost, allow me to say that since we got this machine, a lot of work we have been able to do a lot of work and save money. If, for example, and I'm just giving you a rough figure, if you are to give a contract, to do you 1 kilometer in a bushy place or in remote areas, you probably pay between 800 to 2 million, But if you have your own machines, which we have bought, 120, you can save a lot of money because it's only this management company that will hire the employees. He's the one who has the mechanics, the engineers who will do the work. Our work, for example, the Department of Roads, we have engineers who look after the service of this equipment on a daily, on a monthly basis, or if a machine, for example, has a bigger problem, then we access and see how are we going to fix that particular machine. But again, we thought that was a good idea to give a service provider, because your guess is good as mine. We probably sometimes don't have the capacity as county to manage that kind of equipment. Look at even when we were growing up, because all of you know, Ministry of Roads, in those old days. The national government nowadays don't have those machines because of mismanagement. So when we sat down with my MCAs and the leadership of Narok, we thought that the best way is to give out for a service provider who is answerable for any of these machines. I was surprised when I hear that about the mixtures. Those mixtures are very important because those are the ones that they use to construct either bridges or culverts, stuff like that. So this garage, the garage that we are talking about, that garage is only there when when service is done. But most of the time, the tractors and the tippers are all over the county. We hardly have machines just sitting down without some work. So they have some small tent camps whereby we station our equipment where by evening they stay there and then move from that place to another. I want to bring the senators to understand that we're talking about 17,000 square kilometers, whereby to do one road is either 40 kilometers, 20, 30 kilometers, or even 100 kilometers in a certain road. So the 300 million can sometimes be a little bit more, but we have just, and I think that's what the auditors have, is that roughly about 300 million. Normally it doesn't go 350.
Is it a fixed amount or it's...
It's not fixed because obviously some months are expensive than others. And depending on
the wording of the Auditor General is in excess of 300 million.
Yes, that means that, you know,
it's not a fixed 300.
It's not a fixed, not at all, not at all. Because it depends on month. Some months you get many breakages than the other month. So it is not fixed.
Now, I do recall this matter has been considered by this committee before.
Yes.
I think at the time of purchase of the equipment,
we went through
there were certain issues around budget variations.
Correct.
We went through it, but we took a global view that this would have a positive impact on the people, even though I think there was still a pending issue of violation of the PFM Act and regulations on variation, because I think you recall when you got into office, there was no budget. Right. Then you provided a huge budget for it. Yes. How much was this, if you do recall?
I think the amount that we paid for the moving machine, the 120, is around 1.6 billion.
1.6 billion.
Correct.
As at the time we queried this matter,
yes,
I think some equipment had not been delivered. I think that was sometime last year or a year back. Yeah. Can you confirm to this committee that all the equipment, as per the LSO, have now been delivered?
As a matter of fact, Chairman, we have all logbooks for all our machines. All have been delivered and all are working in the field.
So a comparison of the order and a comparison of the delivery, we will get to that conclusion that everything has been delivered.
Correct, and we can always provide to this committee to look at it.
I think provide that detail to the auditor, because it's a continuation of the query we had previously. We must give assurance to the people of Narok that what was ordered, what was paid for, is what has been delivered. Members, can we tie this to Kera? Because I'm wondering if the county has spent 1.6 billion.
Chair, sorry, you didn't say, Governor, through the chair, Governor, you didn't say something about your asset, because I was worrying about the tagging of your assets. Do you have a complete asset register so that we can so that we know all your assets are well tagged and well captured for the purposes of protection? Do you have a complete asset register? Sorry, Chair, for
yes, Senator of Nandi. Indeed, we have a register, a full register of all, not just the moving machine, even our own vehicles, the one that the governor used, or the CCs. All the vehicles that we have in the county government are well registered with a number plate. And remember, all our number plate is 033. So, you know, you have all those numbers in a register.
Fine. So we'll keep this in view. I know there was an issue of the rent, the office rent. Now, auditor, you'll have to confirm if in the contract there's a clause that requires the service provider to pay for rent. If there's a clause in the contract, did you see that? Because you have queried it here.
Chair, I'd like to confirm that.
That there is?
No, Chair, if given... Sorry?
You are saying the service provider is living rent-free in the county premises?
I would request that we confirm with the contract whether there is such a clause.
Please do so. By the time we're writing a report, we need to have that information, because if they are supposed to pay rent and they are not paying rent, then someone must be held to account.
But just on a point of clarity, and maybe Governor, you can clarify this. Why is it that the service provider is being housed by the county? I have read your response and you've indicated that it is because you want to have a clear eye. Is there any other circumstance that led to you asking the service provider to be domiciled there in terms of operations?
Thank you, Senator and Chair. There is no that contract. I mean, they are not paying anything. I need to clarify that, and the Auditor General can check that. You see, Honorable Senators, I'm trying to bring you so that you can know that these machines are not domiciled in the office. Machines are all over the county. The only time that machines can be brought to the yard is when major repairs are done. Or, you know, there is something like, for example, somebody is going for, or let me not put it as an example, but basically, this is a small, you know, space that we as a county government, we have, and we say that because the Department of Roads and Infrastructure is domiciled there, we can have this machine so that the CCM for roads, the CEO, and all the workers are right there to make sure that if service is done, you know, we also have our own engineers who will look at it, whether they have done it the right thing, whether they have put the right spares, whether the machines are maintained well as per the agreement. There is so much that is going on there that is not just this, you know, provider that is staying there. No, it's a whole department that sits there to make sure that, you know, these machines are very sensitive. If you give them to be misused, then it will mean that you can destroy the whole 1.6 billion in a year. And this is something that we as a county government will not allow, because these machines are very important for us. You can imagine Masai Mara without these machines. It means that the tourists will not go there. And that's why we are getting our own source revenue.
Governor, yes. And I'm happy that Senator for Kiambu, who is a former chair of the Roads Committee, is here. So we have a query, a very interesting query here. Irregular funding of national government projects, where the Auditor General is saying that you are doing work on roads that should be worked on by KERA, Kenya Rural Roads Authority. I think just globally, from a policy perspective, what then does KERA do in Narok? You have 120 equipment